Hello, my name's Sam, I'm from Blackpool and I like doing fireworks sometimes. I live in Blackpool, I'm from Blackpool, and this firework display, this competition, 3 weekends, every other weekend, it's massive for tourism for our community. It brings a lot of people in over the weekend. I think they said last weekend there was, not last weekend, the show number one, there was 50 to 80,000 people here, which is absolutely massive. And then before that, the weekend before that, we had the illumination switch on, which we're involved in as well, and there was again around 50 to 80,000 people. I'm one of the show leads, and I do the roll out the beach element, lead the beach element as we roll all this out onto the beach into its final position. So come firing time, I'm on the beach underneath it, so I don't get to see the final thing until I watch sort of Facebook Live after and watch the show back after. But yeah, so I tend to be underneath it, and you don't get that vantage point because it's all just above you. So. As a British company, Titanium, we host the competitors who come over, the Finnish competitors that come over. They design the displays, and then they come and help us rig it, get it into position, sort out the finer details for us. These are our shells, so these are the bigger stuff that you see in the air, the tallest that provides the big bang in the air. So these are shells, so we've got the red tubes, which are the smaller shells, which are what we call the 3-inch shells, so 3-inch diameter, or 75mm. You see a bit further along, you've got blue tubes, which are the 4-inch shells, and then right at the back, you've got the big boys, which will break roughly around 450 foot, and big almost 100-metre diameter bursts. You can see all the black boxes that they're wired into. So this is our computer, effectively our computer control of the brains of the operation. So the laptop, the design on the laptop, it will basically send a firing signal saying, right, I want one of the 3-inch racks, one of the 3-inch shells on this rack to fire at this time. So electronic signal, a data packet comes down the cable, comes to the box goes, right, let's go, it's time, I want to send you up, let's go. So yeah, this stuff's the bigger stuff that provides that punch at the back of the show or up high. We're getting ready now to start setting up what will be called the front positions, which the lower to medium, sort of mid-range effects up in the sky. That provide some of the finer synchronisation to the show. The front positions contain our metal cassette rack, which will be for our Roman candle effects, which provide the sort of mid-range, and then the single shot effects, which provide some of the synchronisation. So effectively, I've just screwed down the what we call the Europa plates, which then these single shot effects now slide onto. Each effect has got our module, what module it's going to be on, what queue number, and believe it or not, we use a nautical term. We use a nautical term for left and right. So if it's got a green dot on it, it's going to be firing right. If it's got a red dot on it, it's going to be going left, so port and starboard.
I did my first show in 1999. Then I did a whole host of other jobs and basically got into fireworks because one of the other directors, Toby, was always into it. Then he founded Titanium and asked me to come and work setting up the production team and getting it all working on that side of things, and I'm still here 13 years later. So yeah, it's a bit of a random job, but it's good, and I always said I never wanted to work in an office and wanted to be out doing different stuff every day. So these are the slices. You've seen the cakes earlier, which are basically multiple rows of these. These are obviously just single lanes of them, ranging from 9-shot right up to 13-shot, and then some of the other positions have 19 shots. And basically these are all instant ignition, so the igniter will hit it and we'll just ignite all of those. This is obviously the master control panel that sort of runs everything and the sort of brains behind the show. So later when we're on the beach, you'll see us deploying all the control cables and wires back to the central hub. They'll take charge of the system. They know all the addresses of everything, and therefore they will choreograph and fire the show at the correct point. And all of this is done, obviously at the moment we're working on it, everything's isolated, so we can't have any accidents or anything go off. And then at the moment when the system arms, it's obviously all set up to go off later, but it's all completely safe as we do it now. This is the module, this is the brains of the Fire One system for this position. This is basically a small computer sat in here which we've addressed on the front, so that when we connect this into the master computer, it knows where, in this case, position 3 is. It understands the 32 cues that are wired into it here, and it'll obviously understand what each individual firework that's on the end of this is ignited into. We're firing the control system is basically just firing a script of pages. This module, this cue, this module, this cue, and obviously this module 3 will respond to whatever cues it's firing and fire them at the right time. At the moment it's obviously all safe because we've got this switch off, so that nothing can connect between the PCB that was wired and the brains, and when we're down on the beach later this will all be turned on, wired into the control and then all set and tested.